There's something about driving at night that clears the mind. The world slows down. On that night, the moon hung low and golden, casting long shadows across the vast, barren landscape of Nevada's Route 50. Out here, every creak in the truck, every whisper of wind against the glass feels louder. And on Route 50, there's nothing to muffle it. Known as the loneliest road in America, this route slices through desert and ghost towns like a vein of solitude. Truckers like me use it to make time. Fewer stops, no traffic. But it's not without its reputation. Strange things are whispered about this road in truck stops and CB radio channels. Lights in the sky. Disappearing hitchhikers. But I never believed in that stuff. Not until that night. My shift started normal. Coffee in the cup holder. Playlist rolling with old school rock. Zeppelin, Skinnyard, The Doors. I'd just passed a gas station about 80 miles back when my headlights flickered slightly. Nothing new. The rig was old, temperamental, like most long-haul trucks. But that was the first sign something was off. Then came the road sign. Half covered in dust and time, it pointed toward a long-forgotten mining town. Nothing unusual. Nevada's full of them. But right after I passed it, my headlights caught movement. That's when I saw her. She stood by the roadside like a mirage, pale as moonlight. A white dress, soaked and clinging to her form, shivering even though the desert night was warm. Her long, dark hair hung in wet strands. She wasn't just standing. She was waving, desperately. Like she was trying to stop me. I hesitated. I mean, who wouldn't? Picking up strangers at midnight in the middle of nowhere wasn't exactly smart, but something about her eyes. They were wide, haunted, like she'd seen something she couldn't unsee. Against my better judgment, I pulled over. She didn't wait for me to say anything, just opened the door and climbed in. She didn't speak, didn't meet my eyes. She stared straight ahead, arms folded tight, body trembling. "Are you all right?" I asked, no answer. "Did your car break down?" Nothing. That's when I noticed the puddle forming beneath her. My seat was soaked, and not with water. It was this dark, foul-smelling sludge, like swamp water. But we were in the high desert. No lakes, no marshes, no reason for her to be dripping wet. I should have been scared. But in that moment, I was more confused than anything. Then the cold hit. It started in my fingers, a tingling numbness. Then my breath turned visible. The dashboard lights dimmed and flickered. The radio, mid-song, sputtered into a sharp static hiss. That's when I heard it. A whisper. Not from her, not from outside, from the radio itself. A low, guttural voice murmuring words I couldn't understand. Almost like chanting. I looked over at her. She hadn't moved, still staring out into the dark. But her lips were moving. Barely, like she was repeating the words. I reached to switch off the radio, but before I could, a burst of cold air whooshed through the cab. All the windows were up. The vents were closed. Still, my breath came out in clouds. I was officially freaked out. I reached for my phone, thinking of calling 911 or maybe taking her to the nearest sheriff's station, but the screen was dead. No signal, no power, just a black mirror reflecting her face. And behind her, just for a flash, I saw another figure, wet, shadowy, reaching. I slammed on the brakes. We skidded to a stop near a desolate rest area. Nothing more than a rusted-out picnic table and an old vending machine that hadn't worked in decades. I turned to tell her to get out, to ask what the hell was going on. She was gone. Door never opened. No sound, no movement, just gone. The seat was soaked, still warm, and on the rubber mat below her feet, thick streaks of black mud. I sat there in stunned silence, heart pounding, staring at the empty passenger seat. Then on the floor, I spotted something. A hairpin, silver, ornate, something from another time. I reached down to pick it up. It was ice cold. I sped off, adrenaline pumping. My mind raced. What just happened? Had I imagined it? Was it some trick of exhaustion? But when I got to my next stop, the real horror began. As I climbed out of the truck to refuel, something caught my eye. A piece of paper stuck to the inside of my windshield. I peeled it off and instantly felt the air leave my lungs. It was a newspaper clipping, old, yellowed, and torn at the edges. The headline, "Local Teen Missing After Prom Night, Last Seen Near Dry Reservoir." And there was her photo, smiling, dressed in white. It was the girl from my cab, no doubt about it. Her name was Lily Harper. She disappeared in 1978. Rumors said she drowned when her car veered off the road during a rainstorm, but her body was never recovered. I hadn't told anyone what happened, yet this clipping was now in my possession. I felt like I was being pulled into something I didn't understand. I started researching her story. Found old locals who remembered her. A few said they'd seen her ghost, always by the road, always drenched, always silent. I couldn't let it go. I took time off from hauling, drove back to that stretch of Route 50, parked near the sign to the mining town and just waited. Days passed. Nothing. Then one night I found something on the roadside. A single waterlogged shoe, moldy, falling apart. But it matched what Lily was wearing in the photo. I kept it. Don't ask me why. From then on, every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, standing in the road, hair covering her face, eyes sunken and pleading. My dreams turned into cold, wet nightmares. Sometimes I'd wake up coughing, lungs burning, as if I'd been drowning in my sleep. I was changing. Friends noticed. I looked tired, pale, distracted. But I couldn't stop. Another delivery brought me back to Route 50. I promised myself I wouldn't look, wouldn't stop. But the moment my wheels hit that stretch, everything shifted. The radio buzzed. Static turned into whispers. My breath fogged up the windshield. And there she was, standing dead center in the road. This time I didn't stop. I tried to drive through her, but as the headlights hit her, the truck stalled. Dead, no power. Everything went silent. I sat frozen, gripping the wheel. She moved slowly to the door, opened it, climbed in. She turned to me. "You see me now," she whispered. Then everything went black. I wasn't in the truck anymore. I was underwater, deep, dark, ice-cold water. My lungs burned. I thrashed, but something held me down. Chains, roots, I don't know. All I could see was her face above me, watching, not angry, not sad, just hollow. I screamed, but no sound came out. Water filled my mouth. My chest ached. Then, light. I woke up in the cab, parked on the side of the road. Everything looked normal, but I was soaked to the bone. The cab smelled like rot. On the windshield, scrawled in what looked like dirt or blood, was her name. Lily. I drove straight home, locked the doors, tried to forget. But that weekend, I was helping my mom clean out the attic. We came across an old photo album from the late 70s, and there she was, Lily, standing in the background of a photo at a family barbecue, my uncle grinning in the foreground. Lily half faded, watching from the corner. "Who's this?" I asked. "Oh," my mom said. "That was Lily, the girl next door. Used to babysit you when you were little. She died. Drowned, I think. Such a shame." Everything connected. The dress, the name, the story. But when I asked more questions, my mom grew distant, like the memory of Lily was already fading, like she was being erased. I had to go back, one last time, to the reservoir. I found the dried-up lake bed, cracked and littered with old debris. Near the center, a mound of twisted metal, what looked like a car, rusted beyond recognition. Inside I found a corsage, a cassette tape, and a newspaper clipping. Not old, not yellowed, fresh. That's when I heard it. Wet footsteps behind me, squishing through the dry mud, slow, steady. I didn't turn around. I just whispered, "I remember." Silence followed. To this day, I drive Route 50 every so often. Not to see her, but to remind myself, to remember. Because forgetting is what brings her back, and when it rains, the mud still finds its way into my truck. So if you ever see her out there, don't stop, don't speak, just keep driving. Story number 2. You know how every trucker has a story? Some are funny, others tragic. But me? Mine still keeps me up at night. And no matter how many miles I drive, no matter how far I try to run from it, that voice still echoes in my mind. I started driving long hauls about 10 years ago. The open road always gave me a kind of peace. It's just you, the hum of the engine, and the endless stretch of highway. I liked the solitude. It helped quiet the noise in my head. I didn't have much back home, just a cat named Whiskey and a few unpaid bills. But out there, I was free. Most nights were uneventful. I'd pull over at truck stops, grab stale coffee, maybe chat with another driver if I wasn't in a hurry. But about 2 years ago, that changed. It was late autumn, the kind where fog creeps low across the ground like something alive. I was on Route 46, headed east through Pennsylvania, a route I'd taken dozens of times. Then came the voice. At 3:07 a.m. sharp. My CB radio, which I usually kept off at night, crackled to life on its own. And through the static came 5 chilling words. "Don't stop at 237. I laughed at first. Figured it was some rookie driver trying to mess with people. CB pranks weren't exactly new. Still, something about the timing felt wrong. I turned the radio off. Or at least I tried. But no matter what I did, changed the channel, unplugged it, the damn thing would light up at exactly 3:07 every single night. Same voice, same phrase, same hollow warning. Don't stop at 237. At first I ignored it. 237 could be any mile marker. But one night, curiosity got the better of me. I started paying attention to the mile markers along my route. Turns out there was a 237, just past a forgotten stretch of forest near a town called Lorne's Hollow. A place not even Google Maps seemed to know existed. The first time I passed it, I noticed something strange. The air grew heavier, like something was pressing down on the truck. My dashboard lights flickered, and for a split second, my engine sputtered before kicking back in. I chalked it up to bad wiring. Trucks can be temperamental, especially when you've driven them hard. But every time I passed 237, something felt wrong. A chill would crawl up my spine. My headlights would dim, and the road would vanish into a wall of fog. Once I thought I saw someone standing on the shoulder, just standing there, watching. No movement, just waiting. I became obsessed. I started talking to other drivers. Quietly, of course. You don't want to sound like you've lost your mind. But the more I asked, the more I heard stories. Most drivers wouldn't even say the number. One guy, Chuck, he'd been on the road for over 30 years, told me to switch routes immediately. He said he'd known a driver who stopped near 237 during a snowstorm. The guy vanished. All they found was his rig, engine still running, door hanging open, and deep grooves in the dirt, as if something had been dragged into the woods. No blood, no signs of a struggle, just gone. That story should have scared me off, but instead it pulled me in deeper. I scoured old newspapers, forums, even trucker Reddit threads. The rumors went back decades. Missing people, faint lights in the trees, a phantom hitchhiker who asked to be dropped off at mile 237. Once you do, you never make it home. And the voice? Always the same. Male, calm, hollow. Don't stop at 237. I started logging every instance, time, weather, location, trying to find a pattern. But there wasn't one. Only the warning. Every night. 3:07 a.m. I had to know the truth. It happened on a fog-choked November night. I'd been running late, behind schedule, pushing through a mist so thick I couldn't see 5 feet ahead. And then, bang! My front right tire blew. I swerved, barely keeping control, and pulled over onto the shoulder. I didn't realize where I was until I stepped out and saw it. Mile marker, 237. The air was wrong, too still, no wind, no crickets. Even the hum of my truck seemed swallowed by the fog. I grabbed my flashlight and climbed out to inspect the damage. The tire was shredded. No way I could limp it to the next stop. As I started changing the tire, I heard something. Metal dragging against asphalt. Slow, deliberate. I turned, shining my light toward the tree line. That's when I saw it. A figure. Tall, slender. Dressed in tattered black. No face. Just smooth, pale skin where a face should be. It moved like it was gliding. And behind it, dragging through the wet gravel, was a heavy sack. I don't know what was in it, but it thumped every few steps, like dead weight. I froze. Every instinct screamed to run. But I couldn't move. Not until the thing paused, no more than 20 feet from me, and slowly tilted its head, like it was listening. I dropped the wrench and ran, jumped into the truck, locked the doors, threw it in gear and peeled out, tire or no tire. I didn't stop driving until sunrise. I changed my route after that night. Started taking the long way, an extra 100 miles just to avoid Route 46. I thought it was over. But then, the voice came back. Only this time it didn't say, "Don't stop at 237. It said, "You stopped. Now you're marked." That same night I got a call. My old friend Tony, another long-haul driver, had vanished. Last known location? Route 46. He had called me the night before, asking if I'd ever heard anything weird on the CB. I never replied. And when I checked the logs on my CB radio, the message hadn't just played at 3:07 a.m. anymore. It was playing on loop, all night, only I hadn't heard it. I went back to Lorne's Hollow one last time, not by road, by foot. I had to know what I saw, what had marked me. In the woods near mile 237, I found something, a clearing. Inside it, old truck parts, CB radios, clothes, a ring of mile markers, all painted black, and at the center a stone altar, cracked and moss-covered, carved with the number 237. I don't remember how I got out. I woke up in my rig, miles away, sun rising over the hills. My hands were stained with dirt, my clothes torn. My tires? Untouched. I still drive. But not on Route 46. Never again. And every night at 3:07 a.m., I keep my eyes on the road, my hands on the wheel, and my radio turned off. Because I know this story isn't over. Somewhere out there, mile marker 237 waits. And if you ever find yourself driving that stretch of road, don't stop, no matter what. And if you hear that voice, it's already too late.